All right. Hello, everyone. This is Nancy Rebecca with Intuitive Mind. And today I'm going to be talking about uh, what it means to be a prophet, about prophecy. And I'm curious about you all. Do you believe that we are being awakened to our own inner divinity, our own inner ability to prophesize? And what does that even mean? So, we're going to be touching on a lot of really kind of distill it down to a lot of statements, a lot of questions, but really the intention of this whole talk is to leave you really curious, to self-explore in meditation, but also do a deep dive in the World Wide Web and really define for yourself what it means. What does prophecy even mean? So, good morning, Amy. Good morning, Yvonne, Michelle. Hi from Edmonds, from Canada. Yes, Herba Mate. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay, so the gift of prophecy, I'm going to jump right in because this is, you'll be able to view the recording if you miss any of this. So, what happened to me a few weeks ago? I was really preparing for the frequency forecast of the month. We've got the blue light movement that's been happening, and there's going to be a big surge of this cosmic celestial light that's going to be happening in November. And for me, that vision came through here in my meditation room, but I was guided to go to China where I had the bigger vision that there would be surges of blue light that would be coming in 2019, 2021, and then this year, 2023. I've never really had a prophetic vision before, but it was a full body, kind of what I would call a download, where suddenly there was this scene kind of playing out in front of me about these surges that would be coming through. And I was being shown as if I was floating up kind of an outer space, looking back at the earth as well. Now, it was interesting. Someone just asked me yesterday, does that mean the world's going to end? And I've been talking about this now since 2017. And I was really surprised to know that there are some people that are not quite sure, or that you can associate fear with prophecy. And of course, a lot of people associating fear and prophecy with apocalyptic vision and the end of the world. But that is not what I saw. So, I'll just briefly show that what spirit, what the divine, whatever information was downloaded to me, it did come in the form of a blue light. It was almost like this electrical bolt that hit me. I was knocked backwards. The people behind me were knocked backwards. But the vision was that these surges would come to the earth to help us to rapidly awaken to our own, we'll say our own divinity, awaken to the truth that we are spiritual beings, kind of walk through life with our eyes wide open, no longer being easily influenced by the lies and deceit of other people. I mean, who doesn't want that, right? And so this surge that would come through in 2019 and then 21 and 2023, each time just kind of awakens us a little bit more. And I'm going to associate it with like going up an escalator to the next floor. We could think of like the mall, where you're going to a different level of shops that are available to you. It is that simple. It is that straightforward. However, as the frequency of the earth goes up, then there's a lot of turmoil on the earth. I will also tell you that we've just had the Lions Gate, August 8th, that we had on, what was it, Tuesday, Monday? I'm trying to remember. It was so smooth that day, but leading up to it was chaotic. Afterwards, it was chaotic. So I think a lot of us associate kind of prophetic vision, some with fear, because it's fearful for the body. It's not fearful for the spirit, but our bodies are like, well, what's going to happen? I remember when my son was young and we had gone on a vacation to Mexico. And I remember, because it was a town that he was not familiar with at all. He was probably only 6 years old, but he would be like, what's down this road? It's like he wanted me to tell him, to kind of prophesize for him what his experience was going to be before he felt safe enough to walk it. And then it would be the next one and the next one and the next one. And so a lot of us in society are in that place of what's going to happen. And when we're in that state of fear, when you are in that state of fear, you are much more easily, and I'm just going to be really straight talk with you, much more easily manipulated, lied to, guided in a wrong direction, because your fear is driving you, not your spirit. So that's what I teach. I teach people how to self-refer again, how to start trusting their own instincts. So no matter what, if somebody says the world's going to end, you know you're going to have a sense of peace about it. So last week, there was in my neighborhood, big surge of blue. There's a big story. I'm going to talk about it this month on the Blue Light Movement page. But the fallout from that high level of frequency, in the past 7 days, we've had 3 houses behind us burn down. We've had 5 different shootings. And as a matter of fact, within the last 20 minutes, 2 shootings are happening within, goodness, a quarter of a mile of me. And you would think that I would live in a terrible part of town. And so I'm just saying that when the vibration goes up, there can be some crazy things that happen. So it can cause you to be a little afraid of prophecy. But why am I talking about this today? Well, I'm talking about it because in the Lion's Gate, this just new recent portal opening that was happening, we're having a stronger influence from the galactic core, the great attractor, and then the planet Sirius, which is part of Orion's constellation, which is the brightest star in the sky that you can see at sunrise or sunset. And it's strong. You can see it the strongest in the fall. It blends with the sun's rays and comes down to the earth through that portal to amplify. Now, the biggest amplification will happen in November. And I encourage you all to read my blog on intuitivemind.org. Click blog, click Blue Light Movement, and I have a lot of write-ups and videos on here on YouTube that you can watch as well. Not that it tells the full picture, but that's a prophecy. But if you had told me that I had a prophecy, I would have said, oh, no, I'm not a prophet. So let's define what a prophet is. So a prophet, if you have the gift of prophecy, it is often associated with religious and mystical contexts where you can receive insight, revelations, visions about the future, divine guidance, and hidden truths. So what happened was, when this blue light was coming in, when I was preparing for this frequency forecast, I was told that this particular frequency, this particular, we'll say, light code activation is activating within each and every one of you the gift of prophecy. Now, I've done over 20,000 readings, and in that time, I remember someone would sit down in front of me and I would hear a loud, booming voice that would say, this individual has the gift of prophecy. And it would come through loud. And they may be disheveled and haven't taken a shower, and they may have a lot of bags that they bring with them. Like, you cannot recognize the prophets that are walking around us, because often we keep those visions inside. And why? Because we don't want to be locked up. We don't want someone to think that we have mental health issues. Not to say there aren't, that isn't a possibility as well, that you are mentally out of balance and that you can misinterpret, or your energy field's out of balance and you can misinterpret. So I'm a nurse, I have to mention that, but that's just what Spirit told me. We are being activated for our inner prophetic vision and abilities to awaken to us. So Prophecy can mean foretelling future events, but not limited to that alone. It encompasses delivering messages from a higher power, offering guidance, or interpreting current events in a spiritual or meaningful way. So then, I'm writing as I'm talking. It's like, well, what's the difference then between that and psychic? So it was like, so is a psychic a prophet? Not necessarily. So a psychic just means that you have intuitive abilities but you have a much greater accuracy and precision. And in that ability, you can see truth in the moment. So I would say that's more of a psychic, where they can see and interpret truth in the moment. Prophetic ability is the future. So in various religious traditions, prophecies often linked to or has a direct connection to the divine and supernatural forces. So if you hear about prophecy and all this new energy that's moving in, we do often associate it with God, with the divine, or with a goddess, or with an ascended master. I think that's how most of us interpret it. I would love to know have you ever thought about prophecy? Have you ever even thought about prophetic abilities at all within the inner realm of your own being? Is that not like, surprising and shocking? But I would love to hear from you in the comments about what you, without looking it up, without looking at the definition, what have you been societally programmed with to believe a prophet is? Okay. So in the Bible, for example, prophets are individuals chosen by God to convey messages, warnings, predictions to the people. They provide, but often, like Isaiah and Jeremiah and Ezekiel, not only would predict future events, but they would also, and I really loved this, would also provide moral and ethical guidance that went along with it. But right now on the news, you can change all the news channels and you can find a lot of people who are predicting things for the future or stating things for the future that is not true. So I write here, what's the difference? So my question to you is, what's the difference between prophesizing, where the divine is giving you the information to share with the people? Now, the divine doesn't always give information to you to share with the people. So often, I'll be getting information. I'll say, this is for your eyes and ears only. But if I'm guided to share it with others, then I will share it with others. But what's the difference between prophecy and self-fulfilling prophecy? So a self-fulfilling, it's like, say that when I was a kid, oh my God, we used to love playing tongue twisters. I don't know if kids do that these days, but that's what it feels like, self-fulfilling prophecy. So a self-fulfilling prophecy is true. It can happen. And in this day and age where the frequency and the vibration on the earth is so high, if you fear something, I'm so afraid this is going to happen. I'm so afraid this is going to happen. Our world is going to end. 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 Then what happens is you send that frequency out and it can trigger someone else and someone else and someone else and someone else. You can have politicians, you can have business people, you can have religious leaders who will repeat things over and over and over again that they believe as truth, and it might not be true, where suddenly you're triggered by it, you believe it's true, somebody else believes it's true. We have all that energy that builds, and then you can manifest that truth when maybe that wasn't even the direction that we were going to go anyway. So that's self-fulfilling prophecy. So for me, if I get worried about something and you get that repeat loop, and I don't worry about things as much today as I used to. And man, I was a worrier about things. then that would turn out to be true. So did I manifest it, or did I have the vision of prophecy that prophesized it? And that's a tough one to answer. I can't answer that for you, except to say one comes from a place of fear. And when I had that prophetic vision, it was as if all the cells in my body were singing this kind of enlightened, light of sound and exhilarating. I don't even know if it's love or what it was, but it came with a full body experience, whereas self-fulfilling prophecy would come more from like the root chakra, the third chakra being shut down, definitely your crown chakra. You're not connected to spirit, but you're working off that pure fear. So fear can definitely be a fantastic catalyst for creating the self-fulfilling prophecy. Okay. So, and there are definitely not just the Bible, but there are other religions and cultures that also will express people having prophets. So ancient Greek oracles. Have you ever heard of the Oracle of Delphi? So write that down, Delphi. I've been so curious about that for as long as I can remember, definitely back to my 20s. So in the ancient Greece, Oracle of Delphi, where it was only women and it was only young women, and I think they had to be virgin women too, just saying. But they had the ability to possess the ability to communicate to the gods and offer prophetic guidance. In the Islamic tradition, they also have saints that are believed to possess gifted insights. Native American spiritual practice, known as their shamans, medicine people, spiritual leaders, who also receive visions and messages from the spirit world. I've just this past month have a dear friend who's an elder medicine man who's been staying with me, and he'll come down in the morning and he'll say, "Wow, it was loud last night." And so we just know from knowing him that that means the spirit world was active. There's a lot of information coming through. And often, if I said, "So did anything come through with great clarity?" Not yet, but it's coming. And so that's that sense, like you can just tell that it's busy around you. Something's about ready to happen. Something's brewing. The pot's just about ready to boil. And then you got to let it go, because it might not reveal itself for weeks, months, maybe even years. So I remember once this same friend found me in the library upstairs at this table. He comes walking by. I'm deep in thought, and he calls me granddaughter. What are you so deep in thought about? I said, the divine wants me to bring spiritual leaders together because there's going to be a big change coming. I mean, this had to be 16 years ago. So that all of us spiritual leaders will stop arguing with each other and will work together to help uplift the people. And he says, granddaughter, you can have a vision of prophecy that is not supposed to happen for 3 more lifetimes. So go get yourself a cup of coffee and relax. I just remembered that memory just this moment. All right, so we have, let me hop back to ancient Egyptian religion. Often believed in prophecy, interpretation of dreams, omens, were always messages from God. No, they're not. Not all prophecies, not all messages come. You have many levels of spiritual beings. So you always want to make sure when you're opening up to prophecy that it is of that pure form. And how do you know it's the pure form? Well, it's kind of like what I described, where all the cells of your body are singing because they know that there's this glory and praise, this upliftment, like you can feel all of it that goes higher and beyond the beyond. Yeah, those are the big visions. However, you can have the gift of prophecy just by sitting at your desk at work. So again, yeah, I'll get into all that. So let me just talk about, what did I say here? Awakening to prophecy. When you awaken to your ability, it can come through dreams. So I was swimming in the water with a gorilla in my dream night before last. What does that mean? I'm swimming in the water. And I remember kids swimming in the water with me. And I remember I'm telling the kids, now don't be afraid, but there's a gorilla in the water with you. But it was full on color. I had that same full body vision of all my cells singing. But what does that even mean? And so I'm just giving myself time for that to unfold. But I can't even tell you how many times gorilla images and people talking about gorillas came up yesterday. So when you have a prophetic sense about that through the dreams, it's like, okay, there's another stamp on the gorilla seal. There's another stamp on the gorilla seal. There's another stamp. So what that does is it lets me know, don't look left, don't look right. Nancy, look straight ahead. There's something significant here. And the main thing about gorilla is about gentle strength, that we are starting to open to this amazing power in gentle ways. Who doesn't want to hear a prophecy like that? I mean, that's awesome. And it's global. It's not just for me, because so many people were talking about gorillas yesterday. That let me know that it wasn't a private message. It was a global message that we are moving through dimensions and frequencies to our strength that we express through gentleness. Awesome. All right. But it's usually associated with positive change. So I want to say that as well. And we're so afraid of it. But usually that divine guidance is usually associated with positive change. So let me just talk about, we're going to have a meditation. I'm just going to go quickly through, and I promise I'll write about this in a blog, but it might take me a couple of months, a little behind on my blog writing. But speaking of blog writing, if you're not on my mailing list, you want to get on my mailing list, but my most recent blog about the Sirian, the Lion's Gate, whew, I could tell it was a good one when I put the last dot at the end of the sentence. I could tell it was a good one. So you can find that on my website. You go to the bottom of the page or go under blogs. You'll find it there about Sirius and the Lion's Gate. All right. Foretelling prophecy. This is perhaps the most well-known type of prophecy. And this involves predicting the future, focusing on significant occurrence that may impact other individuals. So you probably have all of this ability. Now, Eric, I'm seeing your note. How does one develop the skill of prophecy? What I was told a couple of weeks ago was we are awakening. It's being activated within us, that you don't have to do anything. It's just, it was lying dormant, and suddenly it's not dormant anymore. And suddenly you have these gift of prophetic ability. Now I'm going to tell you, as a clairvoyant, psychic, medium, who has the vision, who may have what I consider a small gift of prophecy. But even when I say that, it's like, ooh, like, I don't want that responsibility and saying all of that. If it's being awakened, for me, I would say in the last 30 years that maybe I've had, some big senses about things, like gigantic senses, maybe only 10 times. So it isn't like you're going to say, I'm prophesizing for you every other minute. There's a lot more reverence to it. There's a lot more sitting within the still points of your own soul to it. There's a lot to it that I want you all to know. That just because you have that sense you've just awakened to your prophetic ability doesn't mean that you go walking down the street saying, I'm a prophet. But foretelling prophecy, future events, significant occurrences that impact individuals, communities, can impact civilizations. Again, foretelling prophecy, offering insights as to what is to come. And for some can be really significant with your timing and their consequences. So let's think about Noah's Ark. And Noah was, according to the story, given the vision that there would be water that would be coming and that he needed to build an ark and that he needed to talk to people. So remember, if you haven't heard the story, he goes around, he's telling people, I have to build this ark. You need to build an ark. There's a flood coming. There's a flood coming. That's prophetic, but given the ability to have tools to save yourself. So it comes with abilities. It's like, look, there's a lot of planetary natural disasters. Many prayers to Maui right now with their fires. But they were given a get out of jail card free, but they were like, nah, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. So you always want to check in with yourself, not listen to total skepticism, listen to total prophetic vision that somebody else has. But again, what did I say? Go into that. What did I suggest? Or what would Nancy do? Nancy would go in very quietly and say, wow, I'm having these two opposing skepticism, but could there be a grain of truth to this prophecy? I'm going to go into that deep, still point of my inner divinity, and I want to see what the truth is for myself. And that's what we all must get good at doing. Foretelling. Okay, I just said foretelling prophecy. Conditional prophecy. How many of you have ever heard about this? Conditional prophecy comes with conditions and contingency. So predict a future outcome based on response and actions of individuals and communities. Certain conditions have to be met before the prediction can occur. Now, we're hearing a lot of this right now where people are saying, if you really are awakened and enlightened and expanded in your divinity, and you are unity conscious for all, you're going to go in this direction. If you don't believe in any of that stuff and we're all, condemned to whatever, we're going to go in this direction. So that would be conditional prophecy. We're already seeing a gigantic division between those two in people in the whole world. Thanks, Javanti. The Javanti said early on, before finding connection with spirit, believed prophesizing, but had fear attached to it. That's beautiful. Someone else saying, about their dreams, that they've been having a lot more dreams lately. Precognition, Shannon saying, precognitive dreams all the time. Both my kids have the gift of prophetic dreaming. And in saying that, I'm just going to say, so my son's now 40, he just turned 43, which I find shocking, more shocking than I am 64. But when he was about 16 years old, he shared with me a dream. And in the dream, he said, we're going to have a revolution when I'm in my 40s. And I said, oh, really? So, when you're a mom of a teenager, you have to act like it's no big deal. Like you can't get really excited about it. So I'm trying to act really nonchalant. I'm like, well, tell me about the dream. And he goes, but Mom, it's a revolution, but it's not a revolution like I learned about in school where people are killing each other. It's a revolution about love. Oh, really? I couldn't even get excited about it. But if you ask him right now at 43, he said, I can remember that dream as if it just happened last night. Is that profound? And he believes it, So just for anybody who's afraid of your future, my son, when he was 16, prophesied that we would have a revolution about love. So that's where we are right now. All right, I got to keep going. So symbolic prophecy. Symbolic prophecy is presented in metaphorical manner. So instead of providing straightforward predictions, prophets would use symbols, visions, imagery to convey deeper spiritual truths and insights. So I would say that's more towards how I lean. Like I'll get a vision about something. I had a really great vision about something yesterday. And I was like, whoa, that's intense. can't even remember it now, but yeah, it's like this symbol, this image, that was able to give me a lot of information about where we are moving as people. How about apocalyptic prophecies? Well, there's a lot of people prophesy. Oh my God. Apocalyptic prophecies focus on dramatic events that will end the current age and the world order. These prophecies often describe catastrophic events, the arrival of a Messiah figure that will establish a new era, a new kingdom. Apocalyptic prophecies are common teachings that can be found in almost all religions. Intercessory prophecy. All right. Have you heard of all these things? So intercessory prophecy involves individuals with divine guidance or insight on the behalf of others. So it's like you can be standing next to someone and then you get downloaded and it's like, oh my gosh, I have to share this with you. And this happened to me once in a really strong way. And there were workers in the house, and all of a sudden, this big download that I needed to get a message to one of the workers that I felt was a life or death message. And then I said to Spirit, well, I don't even know who that would be. There's 15 people in my house right now. I opened the door to my office and there's a man standing right there working on the shelf. So I knew Spirit had guided this man to be there. So I shared with him the information. I said, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to weird you out, but he came back the next day and said he had been 7 years sober and was going to go home and start doing drugs again that night. And so that's that intercessory prophecy where I interceded on behalf of Spirit to assist someone who was probably going to make a life or death decision. And Spirit was not able to get through to him because addiction is that way. It just can block anything but the drug or the alcohol. And so Spirit said, okay, Nancy, I need to come through you to intercede. So that's intercessory prophecy, to bring encouragement, direction, and comfort during challenging times. Confirmation prophecy. This is where you can prophesize and affirm and validate the existing beliefs, decisions, and circumstances. How many of you are listening to someone talk, like you're listening to me talk right now, and all of a sudden you're like, I know what was just said is truth, and this is how I always say it, I can feel it in every bone of my body. So that's that confirming prophecy. So there's a lot of different prophecies that are really awakening within us, but it's really time. Oh, and there's rebuking prophecy that rebukes wrongdoing, moral decay, spiritual decline. And we're finding that a lot right now. Like there's a lot of people, we can call them activists, but you can also call them saying they have the gift of rebuking prophecies. So they're going to help shift the direction that's maybe not so positive. So let's go ahead and let's have a meditation. And so in the meditation, it's going to be very simple, 5 minutes. We're going to take time to just release any old programming we have around prophesizing, and then we're going to just set the intention that that we're willing in a gentle way to awaken to our own divinity and potential prophetic ability. If you feel comfortable doing so, and I would suggest saying, now please, not the lightning bolt type. I want the gentle type. Let's think of the gorilla. Gentle awakening to the strength of our prophetic gifts. All right. So go ahead and if you wouldn't mind joining me. And you always have the opportunity to say, nope, I'm not interested in any prophetic gifts that I might have. You can keep that door shut. But you can still join us. So go ahead, close your eyes, and just let your human body know that you're You're going to let go of some fear and ask your body to cooperate. And then say hello to your spirit and just let your guiding light that is aligned with the great creator or the goddess or God, just set your intention that if it is my truth, that it is time for me to awaken to the gift, my own inner gift of prophecy, then I am willing to be open to embrace and integrate that at a comfortable and peaceful state. Or you can say, I might have the gift of prophecy, but I don't feel ready quite yet. I need some more time to explore this. So let your spirit know. Beautiful. So now, if you were to imagine that during this time of the portal opening of August 8th and the light, activating light of the blue star and the sunlight, the divine, is activating and awakening you at a new level, not just at a prophetic level, but any level. What would be a beautiful kind of image or sense of grounding? How would you ground off that more powerful light, expansive light that's coming through to you? And then go ahead and ground yourself to the center of the earth. Pretend and imagine that imagery is an anchor for you. And then just let it flow through to the center core of the earth, and then let it wrap around that magnetic core. And let's simply start with that blue uh, dog star, Sirian star energy that's still active in the portal, to just come through that blend with the sun, the blend with the God of your heart. Uh, so just that blend, just ask and intend that it be that gentle, kind, caring strength, that you are being fortified, your whole energy field, body, your consciousness, with that gentle, kind, caring strength. And so allow it as this color blue blend to infuse all the way down through your top of your aura and just saturating like you're a sponge. You're just going to drink it in. And whatever is not aligned with that gentle, divine strength, inner strength, will easily and effortlessly dissolve. all the way down through the bottom of your aura, and let that same energy of gentle strength infuse the earth all the way down your grounding. Now set your intention. It can be fear from past lives where you may have lived before. It can be fear from your ancestral lineage where your ancestors may have experienced fear around prophecy. It can just be current events that are causing you to be fearful about prophetic abilities. But now just set your intention. If I have any fear around the definition, the defining principles of prophetic abilities, I'm going to set my intention, say today's date, say your age, that I'm going to allow it to be dissolved by this blue light, and that once it's dissolved or dissipated, disintegrated, that it's going to dissolve right down and flow down my grounding. And now that same blue light, just allow it to gently flow through you with the intention of, if I have any abilities, a prophecy within me, whatever that variety of ability is that desires to be activated, that just ask that blue light just gently nudge those areas within you so that you can meditate on those abilities later. Allow yourself to open your heart. Allow yourself to expand to your own trust and faith in your own information. I am opening and trusting and having great faith in my own inner information. And then just set your intention. And I also know any information that I get may be for my eyes and ears only. So remember, just because you may have a sense about what's going to happen in the future doesn't always mean that you need to share it. But just hold it as a gift until guided otherwise. Wow, there's a couple of big shifts there. All right. So go ahead and open your eyes. Beautiful, beautiful. Just stretch it out. Tune into your own senses. Are you changed? Are you awakened in a different way? But more than that, are you curious? Are you curious? Do you have the desire to want to learn more? Do your research, but your action step here is to create some space and time out in nature in your own home to really sit with this knowledge, and how does it sit with you is what's more important than what anybody else says. So yeah, glad you enjoyed it. So again, have a great weekend. There's going to be, there's a lot of events that are coming up that I will be sharing with you all, but I will be talking to you again next week here on YouTube. And please like and share. If you want to subscribe, hit the subscribe button. I've only recently realized that if I hit the little bell, because I've subscribed to somebody else's channel, but I wasn't getting their information, click the little bell that you want to receive notification when new videos come up. And I also just found out I don't think you can do that on your cell phone. I think you can only do it on your computer, but that could not be true too. So please go ahead and post later on. I will read those over the next couple of days, how that meditation was for you. But take care, everyone. Have a beautiful, beautiful day, and I will talk to you again next week. Bye-bye.